Are we live now?
We're live now.
Well, remember though,
Hmm.
you don't want to say it right away.
I'm not even going to say we're live anymore. So now you sound like a crazy
Okay.
person.
Well, I'm just going to go straight into the thing. This is Literary Roadhouse. One short story, once a week. I'm Gerald,
I'm Andy.
And I'm an ace.
and this week we have been reading Sign of the Times, or Sign of the Times, by Dante Pragier, which I chose because of the guy's great name.
It's a good name.
Anything by Dante Pragier has got to be good, hasn't it? So, we follow Simon, our main character. He sees some signs on lampposts on the way back from a farmer's market, but can't read them properly because of aubergines or eggplant. Only later does he remember it, thinking it said something like, "The end is nigh." He worried about this, and a few days later goes back to check, but they had been removed in a sinister way. He needs to know what they said, so he makes a new sign of his own, asking for the person who made the original sign to phone him and tell him what it was all about. And he puts it on a lamppost. Except someone defaces it and made it sound like he was offering sexual services, as they do. So he makes another sign, this time making it sound more intriguing. But this time he watches over it from a bar, a good place to watch almost anything. So some flamenco dancers come, take the sign while doing a dance, and he follows them to an old church come cinema. He buys a ticket and goes in. Du, du, du. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Were you expecting more?
No, he goes in, and then what happens when he's inside? It ends with his eyes have a hard time adjusting to the light, and he sees nothing. Eventually, he sees
first.
something. At first, he sees
At
something.
for a
Yeah.
moment,
For
he
a
saw
moment.
nothing.
Yeah, you see.
For a moment, but did he see nothing, or did he see nothing? He saw it, the nothing. Finally, that he's been searching for.
He's been
Yeah.
searching for nothing.
He didn't see. It doesn't say he didn't see anything. It says he saw nothing.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh,
Oh.
what does
Ooh.
that
All
mean?
right, Andy, do you have a theory? What do you think of this story?
I think this story is a wet fart. I think I was super excited about this story. And I was into it the whole time. He was like losing his mind over this sign he saw the one time and kept coming up with more and more detached from reality explanations for what's going on these lampposts. I was like, oh, yeah, okay. Man's descent into madness. And it's like,
And
this theater guy put up signs to advertise his Dia de los Muertos film festival. And then I go into a dark theater. I was like, oh, you had me on the hook, Dante Pragier.
mm,
You just dropped it.
yeah.
You saw nothing. I
All
study
right.
exegesis.
Gerald, what did you think of this story?
I, s- well, I said in the chat beforehand, I love it when stories make me think, but not so much when they make me think I'm stupid for not understanding them. So this is I thought it was quite tricky. I likened it to a bit like Andy Warhol. There's sort of clever bits and interesting bits, but I don't get the whole thing. What's it about? And so that's but reading into a little bit about the author and cratalism, which is a sort of sphere of philosophical something or other, is vaguely exegetical. So that's good. And so yeah, so it's there's obviously a lot more to it than I read at first, and so
I don't
yeah,
know if that's true.
well,
Someone wants there to be something more to it than you read at first. That doesn't mean there is.
well,
Well, for a moment, I saw nothing.
so I enjoyed it, and I I sort of scratched my head a lot, and I knew that there should be more to it than I was reading, so it made me read into it a bit deeper and think a lot more. So that was good.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm reading it oversimplistically, but to me, it feels like a very regimented, lonely, and bored man gets captured by something that he feels should be a mystery, and in the end, actually life is lonely and boring. Like it just feels very sad at the end, right? Because like there's all these little glimpses as to who this guy is. Hey, he goes to the Sunday farmers market. He comes back and he's taking off a suit. So I'm thinking church guy. He's wearing a suit on a Sunday. All right. He chops up his veggies on Sundays. He's doing a Moroccan recipe. He doesn't live with anyone. He dreams about his career, which is already extremely boring. And then he gets caught up in this thing, which is interesting. Something's going to happen. He very responsibly waits until Friday evening before devoting himself fully to this, right? Like his, and you said descent into madness. I'm like, it's a very controlled descent, right? He doesn't like,
well,
say,
it accelerates,
I'm not going to work.
Low burn, and then he's.
Hmm?
Well, there's it's an as we've learned in the past few years, it's an exponential growth.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, and then so he goes to investigate this thing. He sees 3 conflicts on his way to going to read the signs. And like I'm trying to figure out what the 3 conflicts mean. And like one is sort of the first one is a toddler being superstitious, but in a negative way. He's jumping on the cracks on purpose. I think you're not supposed to. And then his mom is like,
your mother's back.
Yeah, and then his mom is just like annoyed that this kid's taking forever and throws the kid in the pram. So I'm thinking, all right, superstitious, fun stuff. Goodbye, boring world. Then there's a guy feeling stuck on the outside, looking for a key to something. Could be right, a little parallel with our main character here. He's got right. It just feels kind of like too shallow with my reading of the conflict. So I feel like I'm missing something, right? And the very last one is sort of that mystery and voyeurism. You can hear an argument, you can't see it. And the fact he said it's like looking through a glory hole, and then he spends sort of the rest of the story peeking at a world.
Glory holes.
Well,
Your
and
eye.
then he spends the rest of,
Your eyes goes into a glory hole.
No, well. You might want to look first just in case. Anyway.
Now you told me.
But right, and then he spends sort of the rest of the story trying to look through a sort of keyhole to another world to see if he finds something interesting because he's a bored and lonely man. And you think he does with the dancers thing. The dancers thing is strange because I'm like, is he hallucinating this because he's drunk? They kick him out of the bar, so he's been drinking. Or are there actually dancers? And then
I like how you say they kick him out of the bars. There's an itemized list of his drinks. Like
I don't know his tolerance. Maybe he has a high tolerance. Maybe he's been eating some nuts the whole time.
But I like the bit at the end when they do the itemized list, and then at the end they said he had between 2 and 5 more drinks. So it's sort of
I don't think those ones were tonic waters.
No. So obviously the lack of clarity sort of became a little bit more indistinct there.
Yeah, I just read it as like a lonely, bored, regimented man looks for an adventure and doesn't find it, and finds out. By the way, adventures don't exist. It was just advertisement for promotion that flopped. Cool, like it's very depressing.
He is every man, though, isn't he? He is.
Yeah.
He goes to work. He cooks food. He's okay. He's living his best life, maybe. But nothing much happens, and I think that sort of fairly well describes a lot of people who just go to work, do stuff, come home, nothing much happens. I mean, who amongst us can say that during our normal weeks things happen, explosions and lights and fireworks and stuff happen? It just, just the daily grind of going to work and coming home again.
Yeah, that's why I don't write about my daily grind and then force it on other people to read. And then at around 2 p.m. I felt sleepy, so I made another tea. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I take your point. I think also there's like 2 motifs that I can't figure out. Like there's the religious thread, suit on Sunday. He stops following the dancers, but it's not explained why when he gets to Chapel Street. The end is nigh kind of has that like doomsy, sometimes sort of like religious soothsaying that you see, right? So I'm not fully understanding that.
Well, and the weird theater was in a former church. So something, there's something.
And it was on Chapel Street. Ah.
Yeah. Well, the
Right,
street's
yeah.
named after.
After the church that was there.
It is now a struggling theater
Mm-hmm.
with a weird message on its marquee.
And also it's maybe about messages that you think are there but aren't there. So
Mm-hmm.
you're interpreting things that you see as something important when actually they're not. So the whole thing is as you say, Anis, it's a great adventure when actually everything's perfectly explained and it's just part of normal life. Even down to the somebody changing his own sign that he put up, and that's he doesn't understand why that's happening, and then it's because someone graffitiized it.
Oh, but it wasn't just graffiti. It couldn't be a simple defacement. It was professionally done. How did they, with such precision?
I like how he's like, this is a professional, so I'm gonna park myself here and just knock back Manhattans until I get to the truth. Like, yes, there was a potential for this to really go somewhere, and then I feel like, I guess the ending's just a big letdown because it brings you very back to where he was at the beginning, pretty much. And not in a way where you feel like he learned anything on the way there, or that you as the reader learned anything on the way there. Right? There's a lot of stories where you return back home, and that's the arc, right? But then there's supposed to be some change in the character, and I don't feel that. So I then feels like, what was the point?
Well, maybe he's learned that not everything is a great adventure. Maybe stuff just has a perfectly reasonable and fairly boring explanation. I don't know. I'm not a philosopher.
Saw nothing.
How would I know?
Yeah.
I think that's a really good final line for a moment. He saw nothing, that the story didn't earn all the way.
You think that was deliberate?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I think that's somehow the thesis. For a moment, he saw nothing.
Okay.
It's like hell is other people.
I'm on the Wikipedia page for cradleism because I've never heard of this before, and there's a quote which is, "Nothing exists. Even if something did exist, nothing can be known about it. And even if something can be known about it, knowledge about it cannot be communicated to others. And finally, even if it can be communicated, it cannot be understood." I think that's the summary of the story.
Yep. And for a moment, he saw nothing.
Yeah, nothing exists.
Nothing exists.
Yeah, exactly. It does exist. And even if it did exist, we don't know anything about it. And even if we knew about it, we wouldn't be able to communicate it to others. Even if we communicated it to others, we don't understand it. Facts. That's what we've been talking about for the past 13 minutes.
Yep.
So it's a story about cradleism.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
clever bits in it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think from that point of view, I think it does a good job. I think it's it has a lot of what it was set up to do, and I thought it was very well written. I thought even though I didn't understand a lot of it as I was reading through the first time, I think there were no problems with reading it. There were no foreign words in it apart from aubergines, of course.
I don't think you should make that your defining reader quality.
Really? Okay. Well, it's something, isn't it? So, there's an extra point for that. I think I don't know what to think. I think that's the problem. I don't know what like you said.
It was a very well
well
executed, cleverly written exercise in navel gazing bullshit. So I'm like, okay, you done it. Good job.
Yeah. There's also some like Latin and Spanish-y undertones, which might just be, I think he's Spanish, right? The author. Because there's Dia de los Muertos, there's the flamenco and tango, and the person with the keys is a old Mexican guy with keys. So there's just like a little bit of that, but I think it might just be flavor.
Yes. The
Yeah.
flavor of eggplant.
Oh no, he's not Spanish. Sorry, he's from New Zealand, but he worked his way north via Melbourne, Australia, and Spain's Costa del Sol, and he lives in the UK now. That's what it was. I knew there was some Spanish connection, but it's not. It's not him.
And he went to the Birmingham University, where I sort of went to.
Oh yeah.
There are two universities in Birmingham. There's Birmingham University, which is very posh, and then there's Aston University, which isn't.
Is in Birmingham?
In Birmingham, yeah. In
Birmingham,
Aston,
Alabama.
No. Birmingham in Britain, England.
The original, the OG.
The proper one, yeah. Birmingham, Alabama. So yeah, there's that.
Is it Alabama or is it Arkansas? I don't know. I don't know all those A states down south. East, Alabama, Arkansas. Where's Birmingham?
Wait, you want more A states?
No, which one's it in?
Oh, I think it's Alabama.
Is it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, Alabama. Oh, and there's one in Michigan. That's a different one.
What?
We just do that here. We just copy paste names. All right.
There's a lot of places to name. All right.
Yeah, after a while you
don't
just
get it.
there's a road near here called Esoteric Way. Like you're not even trying anymore.
Is it what?
Yeah.
That's great.
It's in the middle of a commercial plaza too. Like there's nothing weird about it. Anyway. So getting back to the story.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is one of those things where it's like I want to read other things by this author. He knows what he's doing, but the only thing that I want to try something else by him, but I want it to be short because if he continues to always write impenetrably to prove that nothing can be understood, then I'm out. Like, like we spent enough time discussing it. I have notes. I tried to think about everything that was in there, and yet it feels just
right on purpose. That's the
yes,
point.
on purpose. Yes, that's
Yeah.
the point. And if that's the point of everything.
And is it even a story? And that's the thing about me. I always like to think that a story is actually a story, rather than an exercise in philosophical dexterity or something.
I think it is because the main character.
It certainly has a beginning and a middle.
Has an end. We just didn't like it.
It stops.
Yeah.
Well, I think you've got to have a bit more than the beginning is where the words start and the end is where the words stop and everything else is the middle. I think you got to have a little.
Well, no, I mean there's definitely 2/3 of an arc, right? Guy goes about his normal life, sees a sign, it becomes increasingly strange. That's a story. And then it's over.
Yeah. He saw nothing.
He saw nothing.
Yeah. There you go. And he's a contributing writer for Australian Cinematographer magazine. There you go. That's something.
I noticed this was published in American Short Fiction.
Yes.
Although it appears that none of the places he's lived or worked are in the Americas.
Oh, come on.
So
All right. We're falling off the deep end. It sounds like we're ready to rate. Does anyone
Maybe
have
he's
anything else
American.
to say about the story?
He grew up in New Zealand. Maybe he's American. Maybe he was born in America. Who knows? Yeah. You see?
Could have
maybe
been.
the American Short Fiction magazine doesn't only source from Americans.
Does he
This
not?
needs content.
Yes.
All right. Are we ready to rate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Are we ready to rate? What does that even mean?
We give it a number between 1 and 6.
Oh, okay. Oh, is that what we do? Right.
I'll go first. I'm going to come in at a 3. I don't know. I'm struggling between a 2.5 or a 3. Like,
Ooh.
yeah. Because here's the thing. I can see that the writer dropped in a lot of breadcrumbs, and I feel like I followed them, and I wasn't really moved. I didn't feel like I was on any kind of like roller coaster or anything like that. I don't know. I guess it wasn't my cup of tea. But in some ways, I'm glad because I've been really positive with the past few stories, and I thought I'd gone soft. So I have not gone soft. You know what? Three. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Well, I think I'm going to give it a 4 because I enjoyed reading it, and I enjoyed our discussion. I enjoyed it. It helped me to find out stuff that I didn't know about and I've already forgotten, so that's pretty good. And I think what he set out to do was probably very good, and well done. And he's called Dante Pragier. I mean, come on, he's got to be worth a mark or two for that alone.
All right.
Like, so yeah, I'm going in at a 4.
Okay.
See, where I disagree with Gerald is I think he very cleverly and competently accomplished what he set out to do, but what he set out to do was dumb and stupid. And
Okay. Wow.
he
All
should
right.
not be rewarded. No,
You're gonna
dude,
work on
come
word
on.
choice.
How much of this navel gazing bullshit do we really need? Like, there's enough of it. We didn't need another one. It doesn't need to exist. There's some cool bits. I like the clever bits. It was funny. Why didn't you put those funny bits into a different, better story?
All right.
Well, but he does get a couple points for a really cool name. So 2 points for being named Dante Pragier and 0 points for the story. Don't write something else. You're a good writer, Dante.
All right. People can write whatever they want, and there's an
Yeah,
audience
and
for
some
it.
of their things are bad.
There's probably an audience for it. It's just
A
doesn't
dumb
sound like
audience
it's us.
of bad
All right.
people.
Okay. 2, 3, 4. That's a
Jesus.
decent spread.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Andy, what are we reading next week?
Oh, that's right. Next week we're reading A Lot of Things Have Happened by Adam Levin.
Okay. But before you go, follow the dancers to our Facebook discussion group, the Literary Roadhouse Readers. And today's signs are all posted on the internet, such as reviews on iTunes. Leave yours to support this podcast and contribute to our podcast expenses at patreon.com/literary roadhouse. Every bit helps. And as always, share this podcast with a film art house attendant who delivers the same canned jokes to every customer. Until next time, read a good story.
You see, and it also contributed a good outro.
Yeah.
That's got to be worth something.
No, I contributed that myself. Thank you.